Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Veg Networking Canada. It's important to honor, acknowledge, and respect that many of us are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of many Indigenous peoples of Canada. Veg Networking Canada is a community where vegan, plant-based companies connect and collaborate. Today, we have a very special guest with us. She is a pioneer in the organic food industry. She is socially conscious, self-made entrepreneur with a passion for organic agriculture and a leader of an innovative manufacturer. Veg Networking Canada is pleased to introduce the founder and CEO of Avafina Organics. Welcome, Laura Cuñer Dubois.
Hello, how are you, Justin?
Well, I am well, and I am well. We are well. The whole group here, Veg Network Canada, is happy to have you and hear more about you personally, and also, of course, your business story as well. But let's start on a personal note about your own story as it unfolded regarding vegan, plant-based, and that journey for you.
Okay, so my personal story of why I became a vegan is that, okay, well, I mean, my journey started very early in life. I wouldn't call myself a vegan back then, but when I turned 14, I decided I wasn't going to eat more meat. And it was a revolution in the family. I grew up eating Italian foods and, meat. I'm from Argentina originally, so meat in Argentina is the #1 thing. So the priest thought I was changing religions, and, everybody was kind of went crazy when they heard that I was not to eat animal products anymore. But I didn't have like a real awakening until 2005, when I went to a vegan retreat, and I juiced and I ate very lightly for 1 week. And it was kind of, because I mean, even as a vegan or as a vegetarian, you can have food addictions, and we all have them, right? We are in denial because sometimes it's the tofu, chicken wings, and they're okay once in a while, but we have those cravings for processed foods. I think we all do. But after 1 week of not having eaten those foods, I felt like I was reborn. It was like a rebirthing experience, and it was like it connected me with what I'm supposed to really be eating all the time, and what is my full potential, or how my consciousness is more awakened when I eat those foods, and when I stay away from the things that we know that they are not good for us, but sometimes it's like we're wired mentally to eat those things. And it became a quest of mine to kind of, I've been in the food industry for a lot of years. I did a little bit of everything. And I knew that, I was always reading labels in the supermarket, and I was like, there's a lot of stuff here that shouldn't be here. And it still is. And I was like, I wanted to be part of that, of the light instead of the dark side of the supermarket, and come out with products, like I am very familiar with Emma's products, part of the solution, coconut sugar, no milk, things that leave all that stuff that we are not supposed to have. So if we have a manufacturing company, we should carry that responsibility forward about what you're putting in your products, the ingredients, and how is that affecting the person that's going to consume those products. I think that that's the right way of approaching the manufacturing business. But unfortunately, there's a lot of products out there that don't follow those principles, and that's why we have an epidemic of diseases that shouldn't be around, but they are around because of our diets, and it's a kind of a cycle of things that happens, right? So yeah, so I'm very, very committed to this lifestyle. I don't consider that I'm missing out on anything. Completely the opposite. I feel like I'm missing out on inflammation and lots of different, and cholesterol, and the possibilities of a stroke, or yes, all those things, are being part of the healthcare system, taking pills. Those are the things I'm missing out. But I don't really feel like eating my tofu chicken wings, or instead of the chicken wings, I think I'm saving a lot of animals. I'm saving a lot of transportation of all the feed that is going to go into those chickens. You can feed an adult cow eats more than 10 adult humans. So there's not the problem of when they say, oh, if you grow everything organic, there's not enough for everybody. There's lots for everybody. The problem is, the problem is the pesticides on the foods. That's a completely different story, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. People don't like to talk about it, but it's very serious what's happening. And sometimes even as a vegan, you're trying to eat healthy, but you're still eating foods that have been fumigated, and that's not disclosed to the consumer. And then, it's very serious. The statistics say that every American, this is American statistics, there's 150 million pounds of glyphosate sprayed in America every year. So that's the equivalent of a pound of pesticides. And when you consume or you ingest that, through eating plants or through eating animals that have that in their tissue, that they affect your gut bacteria, right? So your gut bacteria, all your peptides that get made in the gut, your mood, your immune system, all is that being affected by the amount of pesticides in conventional food. And organic foods, it's only 1.5% of the total agricultural land in the world. So imagine how minuscule that number is. I mean, we are absolutely disappearing. Everything is becoming conventional and GMO, and unfortunately, the tendency doesn't seem to be going the other way. Unfortunately, this is something that got me really upset. And it's last weekend, the government of Canada gave the green light to the GMO companies to say, you don't need to report what you do to the seed. So we are contaminating the seeds of humanity so they can be sprayed with pesticides, and then we're putting poison into our own food. We know that there's bad. I can go on and on and on about it. There's books about it. Dr. Stephanie Seneff, she has a book out about pesticides and their effects on autism, cancer. The list is endless. But it affects the babies in uterus. It affects the nervous system, the neurological system. So it's very serious what's happening when you don't have that bacteria to make everything work in your body. Bad things start happening. The spreads that we developed, Avafina Organics, we manufacture vegan cheeses, right? Vegan cheeses and vegan spreads. We are the sole manufacturers of Chiaviar. Chiaviar is a vegan caviar made with chia seeds and seaweed, and all the ingredients are very, very wholesome and wonderful for you. But everything that we developed following the principles of Dr. Anne Gigmore. And Dr. Anne Gigmore is kind of the mother of raw veganism, if you want to put it that way. I consider her to be that person, and she healed herself of stage 4 cancer, by following a raw vegan approach, which, taking away, we can say those things in private. I cannot say this to the public, but among vegans, we can say these things because they really happen. When you put your body in an alkaline stage and you kind of remove all the toxicity. So she says that toxicity, the disease in the body happens for 2 reasons. One is deficiency, and the other one is toxicity. So it could be a deficiency of some nutrient, and that could be the cause of disease, or the other one can be, toxicity. What are you putting in your body that shouldn't be there? And so we try, all our spreads are following, are kind of made following the principle of no toxicity and lots of nutrients, so that, and they're all raw vegan and following, I guess, the principles of living foods, if you will. Yeah.
We'll get to near the very end, we're going to get to a question based on inspiration and sort of what that means to you. But I'll tell you right now, you just inspired me when you were talking about what you're missing out on. And that just gave me an idea for the post that is very, very good. So tell us more about your own personal entrepreneurial story. Did it start with Avafina? Was it something way before that? How did that unfold with you? Because clearly you have a very burning entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do that. I always, it's a long story. I tell you, I grew up in a farm. My father was a farmer. My grandfather was a farmer. And I need to be close to nature, but I saw what happened to farmers. One day your father comes and says, frost, and then you have nothing, and then the other year things are good and you have a new car. And I was like, I don't want this instability of things. It's like, but I always wanted to do something connected to nature. So when I moved to North America in 1999, I started supplying, buying ingredients from South America, organic ingredients, and then importing them into North America. So and then that was at the beginning of the industry where the organic industry was very young and nobody knew the suppliers or things, or even people didn't know what organic was. It was the beginnings of organic is nothing less than what food was 100 years ago, before glyphosate and before pesticides. Only until the 1900s and until the 1950s, actually, all the food was organic. It was until, in the 50s, when they didn't know what to do with the DDT, they put it into glyphosate, and now we're eating it. So and people are getting sick, and we need to stop and go the other way. So I started with the industry in the 90s, and I work with a lot of different manufacturers in North America, some of the largest today, people that are friends, and and I continue to work with, because we also supply organic ingredients in bulk, and also manufacture our own spreads. But we also do that too, because we have been doing it for a lot of years very successfully. So that's kind of the story of how I started with organic. But I was trapped. I mean, I love what we stand for. I love what, cleaning the earth one farm at a time and one belly at a time. It's so important to eat organic foods, because you're supporting a different way of production, a different way of treating the earth. On the weekend, I was hiking with my dog in Whistler, and I was in the wilderness in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, I found myself telling Mother Nature, I'm sorry. We'll fix this. Because I mean, with all the stuff, I mean, sometimes I talk about the importance of organic and organic agriculture, and people contact me on LinkedIn, and somebody contacted me and sent me a lot of documents on the government and how we are spraying on the coniferous for certain coniferous that are not desirable after the timberman comes. That's why I was saying, I'm sorry, because we're doing it here in BC, it's like, so, and we need to be conscious that we're putting poison in the earth, and we are the earth. So we are poisoning ourselves. It's in the manure of cows, it's in the human system is maybe or Colin T. Campbell, or some of the big guys, that people are going to respect and hear, because these are serious things. And we get 20 pages of pesticide testing, because that's how many different things, and I am happy to share that with you. But this information doesn't go to the public, and it's very sad that we are doing this to the food. Sometimes, the apples in Canada are GMO, potatoes are GMO, and those are staple foods, and not everybody maybe wants to spend the money buying organic and paying more, but at least we should be telling consumers what they are having, what's in their food. That's the minimum protection we should be giving people. And I guess that's the main job of the government, to protect the public. So I think these are important questions that we should kind of ponder ourselves, right?
Absolutely, definitely. And it all just starts with conversations like this. And so your entrepreneurial journey started, kind of like even before coming here in 1999, because you kind of grew up in that environment.
Oh yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So
my father used to do the same thing, kind of buying from other farmers and selling in the market, and kind of connecting the dots with, so it's pretty much my whole life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in your DNA.
Yes.
So throughout the discussion so far, there has already been conversations and touches on transformations and trends in the industry. You mentioned that news about the relaxed guidelines for GMO and all of that.
Yes.
Are there any transformations or trends? Feel free to keep touching on that, but maybe are there any transformations or trends that you're seeing in your space that are welcomed or positive or anything like that? Or do we need to keep touching on
No, I think there's a lot of positive. I feel that there's never been a best moment to be a vegan. I think, the movement is growing. People are kind of realizing more and more of the benefits of it. It's the only diet that can have so many health benefits that are proven by science. I think there's an awakening. People are realizing that, are connecting the dots between the steak and the cow. I think for most people don't make the, in the past, maybe before social media, but I think people are more making a connection now, and they're like, they don't want to be part of the suffering. They don't want to be part of the toxicity of the, of the byproduct of that cow, emissions and all those things. So I think people are getting more and more conscious, and I feel like the future of humanity, we're all going to be vegans. I mean, I don't have a doubt. I feel like, I mean, it's the only solution for what we're doing to the planet. I mean, it's good. I mean, there's no flaws in the whole thing. And I feel more and more humans are going to adopt this lifestyle, and the changes are going to be obvious. And yeah, I feel it's an amazing moment to be a vegan. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely couldn't agree. I personally couldn't agree more. And I think some people listening feel the exact same way. So in terms of where Avafina Organics is going in the future, for those listening, it's usually helpful if you can walk us up to kind of like in a snapshot, how it started, where we're at today, and then using that as a springboard for sharing where it's going in the future. Of
course. Yeah, well, I mean, I share a little bit of my background about, how I started with ingredients. And then after my experience at my raw vegan retreat in 2005, we have some time there where we cook, and we uncook, because it's a vegan retreat. Sorry, it's raw. So there's no cooking. So I realized that there was a lot of things in there that we were doing that they were not mainstream, and they were not in the supermarket, and things that, I could do to help other people to eat that way, in a detoxifying for the body, in a more alkaline way, in a more easy to digest, all the things that, that we know we need to put to help our body detox or heal, or whatever stage, to be part of the solution of the body. Sometimes, we know when we are doing things that are not good for our bodies, but we need to counteract with things that are, good. So when I discovered those things, I was like, okay, I want to make products like this to market. And then that's how I started with my spreads. The experiences that I had at the retreat, they taught me a lot about vegan cheeses. We started talking about seed cheeses in the 2000s, and now that's why I never changed the spelling of the word, because I feel that's the right spelling. Cheese is not something that you make with milk. Cheese is the process of fermentation and all the stages. That's what a cheese is. So they can be a cheese made with milk, or a cheese made with cashews. A cheese made with cashews is not less of a cheese as a cheese made with milk. It's just a different ingredient. And the dairy industry need to accept that that's the reality of it. And then there's been a lot of progress. I mean, cheese, you can call any vegan cheese. So that's a good thing. So that's what we are doing right now. We are making also chia VR, which is an amazing product. We are focusing right now on spreads, but but we also have a line of spices and gluten-free flours and seeds. And seaweed, organic seaweed. Everything we do is organic, and we are planning to continue to add more products, and hopefully continue to grow and help people get better. Get their health aligned with what they're eating. So
very powerful about cheese is not mutually exclusive to coming from an animal. It's a process. That's very powerful. So in terms of where you're at currently now with like distribution, like where people can taste and find these, like what does that look like, and are there plans in the future to change that, expand that?
Of course. I mean, anybody that is in this industry knows, especially the manufacturers. I'm sure Emma and Michaela will agree with me. It's very difficult to get established. It's very difficult to get distribution. I was talking to Lindsay from Pecan Marketing the other day, and she was saying, nobody buys from a company. You buy for a brand, or from a spirit company, soulful company, kind of an idea, right? So it takes a while to build a brand. And at the beginning stages are the most difficult. I think once you get yourself, and also for the distributors to get behind a brand, they need to see some continuity, some assurances, some financial stability, because there's a lot of, unfortunately, companies that don't make it. So I think that the most difficult part is getting started. And then once you get kind of started and people start seeing those first, I think that the first steps are the most difficult. And then, of course, I mean, an entrepreneurial journey is not the easiest, and it's not for everybody. You have to be strong to withstand a lot of rains. But I think it gets easier as you get going. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, next question for you. We always preface by saying there's no right or wrong answers, and you might answer it from the company lens or a personal lens or both, who knows. But the question is around giving back and charity. So do you or Avafina Organics support any charitable organizations, or what does charity or giving back even look like for you?
For me, I think I have a special meaning about which I don't want to give. I always, sorry if I'm translating this wrong, but I believe in not giving people fish, but teaching them how to fish. So what we do is we support university students in Latin America. We work with a church actually in Argentina, and we teach people. We support the teaching of jobs and things like that. And we have done lots of different dental campaigns in South America. We have done solar panels. We have installed ovens in people. I mean, but the needs are like, continuous, and you go there to solve a problem and come back with 3 more. So that's how we are very hands-on in our giving, and we also support immigrants that come to Canada. So we do a lot of it, support BC Parks. There's a lot of different ways that we are trying to contribute and being part of the solution.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, you had mentioned a resource already. I think you mentioned a book by, I believe, Dr. Stephanie Seneff, you had said. So yes. The next question for you is very broad, right? Generally thinking leaders like yourself, we're basically looking to extract some resources from you that people listening might not have heard of before. That, oh, that's amazing. I'm going to either read that, watch that, listen to that. So are there any resource recommendations, books, documentaries, podcasts, websites, maybe even mobile apps on your phone that you use for business or leadership?
Let me think about that. I mean, I think there's a lot of resources. I like to create. I don't believe in success. I think one of the most powerful books that I read is just probably a book that many people have read, but it's The Power of Habit. And remembering that it's not one big step that lead you to success, but many different little steps that you took along the way. And it's kind of being conscious every day. What are you doing with your day? How you're spending your time, and is that time going to help you reach your goals? I love the work of Dr. John DeMartini. Dr. DeMartini demonstrates that gratefulness is the best state of being. And sometimes I went to his workshop and I failed miserably during the workshop. And he was like pointing his finger and saying, see, and pointing at me. And I was a bad student. And I didn't get it at the time, but I did get it afterwards. And it's very powerful. And it's like, if you are not grateful for, let's say you say, I dislike peanut butter, or you say I hate peanut butter, and then so the work that he's done is like find 100 reasons why you are grateful to peanut butter. So you have to do the exercise, and by reason number 15 or 17, you don't hate or dislike peanut butter anymore, because you found so many good things about it. You know what I mean? That it changes your mind, and then it changes your vibration and your state of being. So I think, investing in resources of, being grateful and being happy. Eckhart Tolle is a great inspiration of mine. And, anytime any YouTube videos by Eckhart Tolle, they put me in a different state of consciousness. And that's usually, you need to be very aware of your interactions with others as an entrepreneur, because you're going to be mentoring a lot of people. So you have to try to be your best self to others and be of service. That's what is going to get you successful. How many people can you serve? And sometimes listening to what people need, not so much what listening to what others want you to help them with. Maybe it's a different flavor of cheese or things, but being open to the needs of others, I think, is the most important. Being connected. Yeah.
That was awesome, because you gave some great resources, and then you touched on the next question, which is inspiration. And then you even touched on the last question, which was sort of like tips and wisdom and stuff like that. So bringing it back to inspiration, earlier you mentioned Dr. Ann Gilmore, so feel free
Yeah.
if you want to talk more about that as a source of inspiration for you, and or you mentioned Eckhart Tolle, or maybe like what inspiration actually even means to you. But that is the next question, like what is inspiration and what does it mean to you?
What is inspiration? If inspiration, I think, is connected to higher self. Being connected to. We all have those moments where we are truly one, and I think that it's being harmonious with the energy of love and the energy of God. And I think the energy of being vegan is very connected to that too. I don't want to put it in a level of spirituality, but I think it has to do with it. And I can say those things in this network because everybody would understand. But I think it's that's what it means. And for that to happen, you have to be happy. So finding things in your everyday life that make you happy, that truly you feel like, okay, I'm in nature, my soul is vibrating. I'm kissing my dog, my soul is vibrating. I'm painting, I'm playing music. So you have to have those moments. So because we are all interconnected, and if we're not happy, it's very difficult to give good to others. So that's very important, to spend the time on making yourself happy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting take on inspiration in terms, like what I heard, at least maybe others as well would agree. It's like a connection with the soul or the higher self exist. So did you want to touch more on Dr. Ann Gilmore and how she is an inspiration to you?
Ann Gilmore is, it's the inspiration of my life. I feel like, and my work, and also as a manufacturer, I want to be as true as I can to the principles of her work. Her work, she healed herself first when she was 13 or 14, and she healed herself from illness by eating grass. So that's why there's wheatgrass in her, in the protocol, there's 4 ounces of wheatgrass. We also use Rejuvalax. Rejuvalax is what we use to ferment the cheeses. And then there's it's a very light diet, kind of fruits and vegetables, and kind of when you experience disease of discomfort with your body, you can go into a very simple diet like that and kind of try to repair some of the damage, or feel a little bit better. So I think your work is amazing, and it's the Hippocrates Institute in Florida, and OHI in San Diego and Austin. They follow those principles. Those are places that you could go and spend a week there and kind of get an experience of experience by yourself, kind of what I'm saying. And OHI, in the case of OHI, is owned by a church, and it's a non-profit organization. They also have scholarships. So it's not that I'm trying to sell anything. It's just an amazing experience to be able to do something like that, especially as a vegan, because I don't know if you ever fasted, but that's also a very powerful experience to kind of fast for a little bit and see how your body feels, So yeah, so that's kind of my inspiration in the realm of nutrition. And I'm not a perfect raw vegan. I am actually a vegan. I eat cooked foods, so I'm imperfect. Actually, in the raw vegan lifestyle, you can eat up to 20% of cooked foods. That's considered raw vegan too. So it's 20%. So it's but I think that it's a very, when you see how people that even vegans and raw vegans, we look better because we don't consume drugs that promote inflammation. For the most part, meat, it starts causing inflammation in the mouth, because that's where digestion starts. So yeah, so the body is not happy from the moment that meat touch your lips. It's like, it's a diseased animal right in there, doing its thing. So so this and then the Eckhart Tolle, it's been my hero. I discovered Eckhart Tolle actually in the library of OHI. So because I was looking for a non-religious leader, kind of an idea, because I don't believe in any kind of in a particular religion. I think there's truth in every religion, but I think spirituality is broader than religion, and I think Eckhart provides that. He connects the dots between all religions, and teaches you that really what you have always is the present moment, and in the present is where everything happens. Nothing happens in the future or in the past. It's how are you being, and kind of bringing down consciousness and the power of creation back to the present moment. So it's a very powerful guide. I met him in person, and he irradiates light. He's a light of like he's a being of light, and I think we can all learn a lot from him, from his teaching. So he's been a great guide.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your inspiration and being an inspiration in this conversation. And somebody pointed out in the chat for everybody listening to I said the wrong name. It's Dr. Ann Wigmore. So not Gilmore, but Dr. Ann Wigmore. So thank you for that. So, all right, Laura. So the last question, certain special guests that we have do not like framing this question as giving advice. Others are totally comfortable with that framework, but it's along those lines. So like advice, wisdom, lessons, tips, and you've already kind of given some already, right? Like gratefulness, you've touched on giving back through mentorship and things like that. But yeah, are there any tips, lessons, wisdom, or advice that you can give to either somebody who is already an entrepreneur, starting to become an entrepreneur, or maybe has this burning passion, has a 9-to-5 and wants to become an entrepreneur? So there's a wide swath of people. But yeah, any wisdom, tips, lessons, advice, kind of the last catch-all question for you.
Well, I mean, if you want to become an entrepreneur, I don't know if you become one or if you just are one. I never saw myself as anything, you know. I just did whatever felt that I wanted to do. So if you feel like that's your spirit, follow your spirit. Know that it's not going to be an easy journey. It's usually, I mean, if you start like, I mean, I never ask the bank for money ever. I always did it like stone by stone and brick after brick and kind of very slowly with my own. So if you don't have a lot of capital, it's going to be challenging at the beginning, but not impossible. So keep your overhead low as you can, and then keep your marketing budget up, because that's what you're going to need a lot at the beginning. You're going to be putting a lot of hours and feeling like you're not going anywhere. So don't get discouraged, and remember that you are going to reach your destination, because some people get discouraged along the way, and that's what actually distinguishes the successful entrepreneur from the unsuccessful one. You have to reach the top of that mountain, and the more you climb, the easier it gets. So don't give up. I mean, and then yes, look at your pennies. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, look at where your money is going. And maybe if you're a manufacturer, maybe at the beginning you're not going to have your own facility and you're going to be co-packing. And look at all those things, because at the beginning it's going to be, you're going to be putting a lot of money and a lot of energy, and it seems like it's going nowhere, but it's going somewhere. It's like the seed, you know. Sometimes you put a seed on the ground and you don't see the leaves, you see the roots. You don't see the root. The root is growing, and then maybe in a couple some time you start seeing a sprout. And that's the same with the entrepreneurial trip. It's exactly the same thing. So stay strong and keep your goals in check, and make sure every day you're working towards those goals, and of course you're going to make it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Talking about strong and strength, you mentioned climbing up the mountain gets easier, and some people might hear that and think, well, maybe it doesn't get easier, but because you keep climbing, you get stronger. So it seems like it's getting easier. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Yeah, and
you know, when you're hiking and you start the hike, you're cold, your body's cold, so it seems very difficult. But once you start going and your body gets warm, you're like, okay, this is nothing, right? So, so it's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Totally. And very tactical. Keep your overhead low and keep your marketing budget high, because that's what you're going to need. So that's great. So all right. So Laura, amazing conversation. Is there anything either that we missed you want to double back on, or any announcements that you have, kind of leaving the floor open for you, and then we'll let people know where they can find out more online and on Instagram?
Well, I just want to let people know Avafina Organics, you know, we are in Coquitlam. We are open to work with any other manufacturer that is organic, that is certified organic. We supply organic ingredients. We do private label. We have our own facility that is SQF, Safeway. I mean, we have all the certifications, GSFI certified. So if anybody wants to manufacture and going to talk to us, we're open. And then we have our own line of retail products online that is available to everybody to try. If anybody wants to try my cheeses, or Chia VR is part of the network, I'll be happy to send them a full free sample size. no cost, absolutely zero, just to get to connected and get to know everybody. So that's available. And I just want to thank you so much for your time today and for having me and for the opportunity to network with other like-minded individuals. We need to connect with each other. We need to cooperate with each other and expand the network. So thank you so much for the work that you do and for putting us all together. And I look forward to connecting with everybody else and giving you my best and hope for the best.
Beautiful. So everybody listening, that probably piqued a few people's ears. So you'll be able to connect with Laura directly. You can find out more online, www.avafina.com. That's AVAFINA, avafina.com. And Instagram is @Avafina Organics. So this has been another episode of Veg Networking Canada. Awesome conversation with a great entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of Avafina Organics, Laura Cuñer Dubois. Everybody, thank you so much for being here with us, listening to this episode, and we'll catch you soon for another one. Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.